Our fourth honorary degree recipient will be introduced by Margot Diamond. Margot is graduating from the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences School of Media and Public Affairs with a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism and Mass Communication. She served as an ambassador for the school and contributed to the university's student newspaper, the GW Hatchet. She is passionate about journalism and the role of an independent press. After commencement, she will join the New York Times as an associate in communications and brand strategy. Margot.
President Gramberg, I'm honored to present to you Rebecca Kutler, Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Rebecca Kutler is a veteran media executive and a respected leader in journalism. Ms. Kutler earned a Bachelor of Arts in Political Communication from the George Washington University and a Master of Arts in Journalism from Columbia University, building a foundation for a career defined by editorial excellence and innovation. As president of MS Now, formerly MSNBC, Ms. Kutler oversees one of the nation's most influential news organizations, guiding its coverage across television, digital, and audio platforms. She has led the network through a period of transformation, including a major rebranding effort, the expansion of its news gathering operations, and the development of programming that addresses the evolving ways news is consumed. The network reaches more than 32 million Americans weekly on television and has one of the most engaged audiences across all of television, with the average viewer watching more than 9 hours each week. Prior to her current role, Ms. Kutler served as Senior Vice President of Content Strategy at MS Now, where she played a central role in expanding its digital and nonlinear offerings. She launched initiatives such as MS Now Live and MS Now Premium and significantly broadened the network's podcast and streaming presence, reaching tens of millions of viewers and listeners each month. Ms. Kutler oversaw the network's dayside programming and helped develop flagship shows, including Inside with Jen Psaki and The Weekend. She also held senior leadership roles at CNN, where she earned an Emmy Award for outstanding live coverage for her work on the network's 2012 election night broadcast. Throughout her career, Ms. Kutler has demonstrated exceptional leadership and editorial vision, advancing journalism in a rapidly changing media landscape while maintaining a commitment to trusted, high-quality reporting and analysis. Through her work in media and public discourse, Ms. Kutler embodies the values of the George Washington University.
Rebecca Kutler, in recognition of all the foregoing, and by virtue of the authority granted to me by the Congress of the United States of America, vested in the Board of Trustees of the George Washington University, I hereby confer on you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and declare you fully entitled to all of its rights, honors, privileges, and responsibilities. Now, will you please all join me in giving a warm welcome to our commencement speaker, Rebecca Kutler.
Thank you so much. This is frankly pretty wild that I'm up here right now. This is an incredible honor. Provost Locke, President Gramberg, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, family, friends, but most importantly, the spectacular class of 2026. Congratulations. It is my privilege to be here with all of you today. As you just heard, my name is Rebecca Kutler. I'm the president of MS Now. If you don't know MS Now, it's the new name for MSNBC. If you don't know MSNBC, it's a news channel that started on cable television. And if you have no idea what cable television is, think about maybe a YouTube channel that runs 24/7 on your parents' TV. But today, I am here as a proud member of the GW class of 2001. I remember the ups and downs of my GW experience, from nighttime strolls around these very monuments where we're sitting today, to the chaos that was Thurston Hall. And I've been exactly where you sit. Well, almost where you sit. I have a confession to make. I may have graduated 25 years ago, but this is my first GW commencement. I actually skipped my own. And that's pretty ironic because one of the most important lessons that I learned at GW, it's the power of showing up. And that is what I want to talk to you about today. So what do I mean when I say showing up? Well, I am sure you can all think of moments when showing up is pretty easy. That's how I felt when I first visited GW. See, I have always been obsessed with political news. So when I learned on that campus tour that one of GW's own professors was married to one of my journalism heroes, then ABC News anchor Cokie Roberts, and that taking his class might help you get an internship with her, I rushed home and I immediately applied early decision. Now that's an example of showing up for something you're excited about. But in my experience, it is actually much more important to show up when things are hard. And that is a lesson I learned with the legendary Steve Roberts, who I got to see. He's here with us this morning. Beyond being a brilliant journalist and professor, Steve is someone who has a reputation who shows up for his students, which is why so many journalists right here in this town continue to count on him as a mentor. And that's why I was so eager to try and impress him. But I started off that semester on the wrong foot, literally. I had one bad step coming out of my apartment right over there at the Statesman on F Street. Oh yeah, and I shattered my ankle. I needed emergency surgery. They put in plates and screws. Now, it wasn't the end of the world, but it definitely wasn't how I pictured my senior year. I was in pain, I was uncomfortable, and honestly, I was embarrassed. But I kept showing up. I worked hard. I did the internship on crutches with Cokie Roberts, and as it turns out, that wasn't even the best part, because in that class, there was a guy. He sat a few seats over, and he was a really good writer. I felt his curiosity, intelligence, humor in every piece, and soon on our first date, I still remembered how he walked slowly by my side, matching the pace that I needed. And we've been by each other's side ever since. Today, Dan and I are married with 3 kids, and they're here with me today. And as I reflect, I have seen this pattern throughout my life. Something I really wanted, like that class with Steve Roberts, happens next to something kind of hard, like breaking my ankle. But if you push through, you will find unexpected rewards, like my husband. When things are hard, this is when your choice to show up matters the most. And last year, I had to learn that lesson all over again. I had just started this job leading MS Now. It was a big moment. There was tons of news to cover. There was a presidential inauguration, Doge, ICE, tariffs, widespread protests. Oh, and we also had to complete a corporate spinoff, build all new studios, rebrand our entire network, define MS Now's long-term vision. I was bouncing back and forth between our headquarters in New York and my family here in DC while juggling the news cycle, our business transformation, and raising 3 kids. My schedule was overflowing. My brain felt like it was in overdrive. I had so much to do. I had so many plans, and then I felt a lump. In September, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. All these years, working toward an opportunity like this, and now I wondered, did I need to leave my job to focus on my own health? But guess who showed up for me? Do you remember that beautiful writer from Steve Roberts' class? Through the last 9 months of surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, and all of the indignities that cancer inflicts, Dan has been everything for me and for our kids. He took a leave of absence from his job so I could keep doing mine. He showed up for me so I could show up with our team at MS Now and for myself. And now, after months of treatment, I stand here today with you, still the president of MS Now, still the mom of 3 fantastic kids, and cancer-free. So when I talk about showing up, I don't mean for big celebrations like this one. I mean, think about how important it is to show up for your people when life gets hard, and pay attention to who is showing up for you. Now, it might seem obvious to say we should show up for the people that we love. I am sure more than a few of them are here for each of you today. But as you enter this next chapter, a lot of you are going to be the most junior person in your respective rooms. You will struggle with doubt, even on things that once felt clear. So here's my second request. Show up even when you feel like you are in over your head. I imagine you have all heard of imposter syndrome. I bet most of you have experienced it. I know that I have. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's what I'm experiencing right now. I also experienced it during my sophomore year here at GW. I was an intern for the Hearst Corporation. They own local TV stations around the country, including the biggest channel in Boston. And one of my jobs was to go to Capitol Hill and interview then Senator John Kerry. I was 19 years old, and I was scared. I mean, who was I to be questioning a high-profile senator? But I pushed through that imposter syndrome. I showed up, even though my hands were shaking as I held out the microphone. My voice was steady as I asked questions on behalf of the voters, because asking questions and pushing for accountability These are the central tenets of journalism that continue to guide our newsroom at MS Now today. Your next adventure may look different than mine, but one day soon, you will also be facing a moment that feels too big. Econ majors, you may find yourself building financial models that can swing multi-billion-dollar deals. Biology students, you might be asked to present to researchers who have led their fields longer than you've been alive. And if you studied political science, well, maybe you too will be finding yourself sitting across from a sitting senator. In these moments, a voice in your head may tell you that you don't know enough to be there. Ignore that voice. Show up anyways, because if you wait until you are 100% ready, you will never stop waiting. Instead, take every chance you get to stretch, to learn, and to make an impact. Which brings me to my final request. Show up for your country, because it is your country. I got a crash course in civic duty during my time here at GW, during an internship with my local congressman, John Fox. He was a Republican, but during my semester in his office, what struck me the most was how nonpartisan daily public service actually is. It wasn't opposing parties screaming at each other. It was a constituent service representative helping seniors navigate Medicare. It was young staffers arranging for flags to fly over the Capitol and sending those flags to local heroes. And it was interns like me giving tours to students and families so everyone could see American democracy up close in awe-inspiring spaces like where we are all sitting today. That experience gave me an in-depth look at our beautiful, flawed, magical, and sometimes maddening system. And it reinforced that for all of our differences, most Americans truly do just want to help one another. I have carried that truth with me throughout my life as the foundation of my belief in this country and in our democracy. And it is at the root of MS Now's reporting every single day, because a government that is of, by, and for the people, it only succeeds when we, the people, do our part. And class of 2026, your chance is now. There is an election coming up. No matter where you go after this, and no matter what your politics are, make your voice heard, engage, volunteer, advocate, and in November, make sure you vote. You will decide the future of our country. After all, during my senior year at GW, the 2000 presidential election was swung by just 537 votes, a small fraction of the graduating class sitting here. So I urge you to remember your power, because when you show up, you will shape the future. Class of 2026, I am asking you to show up. I am asking you to show up when times are hard, because you are resilient and you are loved. I am asking you to show up despite doubt, because you are more prepared than you think. And I am asking you to show up to preserve our democracy, because it doesn't work without you. Since you are here today, you are already a step ahead of where I was at your age, and I cannot wait to see where each of you decides to show up next. Congratulations, class of 2026.